Lake effect snow season is here, not only in West Michigan, but across the Great Lakes. It's this time of year that we typically see our first shots of real Arctic air. And it's interesting because the lakes are actually relatively warmer, oftentimes, than that cold air aloft. And it's that very fact, especially in mid to late November, December, and even into early January, that drives this setup for lake effect snow. That creates rising motion, a term we use in meteorology, instability, which leads to rapidly intensifying and growing clouds, which are able to kind of source some of that warm, moisture-rich air from the Great Lakes, and that spreads pretty intense snowfall inland in sometimes linear bands that can produce snowfall rates over 2 inches per hour in some cases, sometimes even more than that. That's just part of it, though. There's other ingredients that go into forecasting lake effect snow. So we mentioned that difference between the water and the air temperature, especially between about the water and about 3,000 feet aloft. That's actually what we're looking for as meteorologists. Another one, fetch, so the distance that air travels over water. You need a minimum of about 50 miles. If you want some serious lake effect snow, you want a fetch of about 100 miles. So 100 miles that cold air is traveling over the water. And then minimal wind shear. That's actually opposite of a severe weather environment, for example. You don't want too much wind change with height in terms of the direction of that wind, because it will actually tear apart the clouds. And then inversion height, another one, essentially how big those clouds are able to grow. It sort of caps their growth. So a higher inversion, potentially, the more snow we could see. Now, the wind is what's driving this as well, the direction of the wind. So with a northerly wind, that's going to tend to produce lake effect snow bands on the southerly shores of each Great Lake. Not necessarily all at once, but hey, that can happen sometimes. In a west wind, it's more the eastern shores of each Great Lake. And then there's other wind components, a northwest wind. You can even sometimes have other wind directions driving it, but you can kind of get the gist there, that wind steering the lake effect snow. So this weekend across parts of the Great Lakes, we could see some, but even into mid to late next week, more lake effect is looking possible across parts of the Great Lakes because well below average temperatures are signaled. So with some of these first real shots of cold air, you got to start thinking lake effect snow here in the Great Lakes.